Alrighty then.
Well,
Well
hello,
then,
everyone.
hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Bonus Roundtable. That this is your
Thank you.
host. That this is your host, Ninja Spence 21. And then who do I have with me this time?
I'm Emily, aka Frey.
And I'm Bosch.
Alrighty then, Frey and Bosch. That this time that we are going to be speaking about a topic that is way dear to my heart, and then it is food at the table for D&D. Now, to kind of just start it off, that kind of with just this thing about that with just like thematic meals and stuff at the table. I know that me and Bosch myself that we have been playing our series into that the woods, and then that that the DM or else sometimes me or else somebody else would just like chip in, and then that like try to make food that is thematic about the campaign we are in. So what do y'all think about theme so what do y'all think about thematic foods at the table?
Well, for starters, I think food is near and dear to almost everybody's hearts. There are very few people who would say, I don't like food.
And if they do, I don't trust them.
Yeah.
Right, you don't trust them at all.
Um,
I think it's fun.
yeah, I mean,
Food
having
is always good no matter what.
yeah,
Right,
I mean,
right.
having a theme could be interesting. I know if you're the one cooking and it's something that's outside of your wheelhouse, it could be fun trying to experiment and test out new things.
Or stressful.
Yeah, or stressful. Uh,
That is
I
true.
might have stressed a little hard over that cheese sauce last week.
Yeah, I know. Then I was just like, oh crap, the dough wasn't done, and then I think I realized I forgot why it wasn't done. I think I put an egg in it. I think I did. I can't remember, but that they were good cinnamon rolls. So
They were good. I mean, I wish that Topher could have joined us because he's done so many meals tying into y'all's Into the Woods game.
oh yeah. I mean that the Vistani breakfast, that the stew to just kick it all off. All of those meals were good.
That was some damn good stew.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
can't
I
say
made
I've had the
everything.
opportunity to have much. What would you say? Polish themed food?
Polish Eastern European. Have you haven't had Kaluskis, have you? You haven't been over when I've made them.
No, I can't say I have.
What
You'll have to
is
come
that?
Kaluskis are a Polish noodle or dumpling. There's actually different ways to make it, but the way I make it's like a dumpling. It's a drop noodle. You make up the batter and then you use the side of a spoon to scoop it out, and you just put it in the boiling water. By the time you put them all in there, 2 minutes later they're done, and you season them. And it's my great grandmother used to make them, and my mom has always made them ever since I was a kid. And my family is very Polish, so um, they're like, and then they were one of my favorite things to eat as a kid. And the first time that Nero came to visit me in Indiana with his best friend AJ, uh, my mom made Kaluskis like I think the second night they were there, and they kept going back for more of them. And I said, I know they're really good, but just remember they do kind of expand when you eat them. They're like, oh no, it's fine. Hour later, they're both rolling around on the floor in my parents' basement, like, it's so good, but I'm gonna die. But they've become one of Hewitt's favorite, and I've made them for several people down here. So I need to make them for everybody at some point. It's taken me years and years and years to get it right. The way I feel like it's right. Hewitt likes it no matter what, but I always like my mom's better. It's taken me so long to get to where I know I can do it right the first time without having to keep fixing it.
Right, right. I know, especially whenever that I decide to one day that like copy my mom's lasagna recipe. Oh, it is some of the best lasagna that I have had. And then it's just like I remember just like one time that she had basically made it from like a brunching thing, and then that that she had made this big like 22 by 17 pan. It was all gone within 20 minutes.
Hey, Spence, check your mic. You're kind of
Oh,
being a little
is
bit of
that
Full
weirdness.
body.
better? Is that better?
Mm-mm.
I mean, we can hear you, but you sound kind of garbly.
Unless you're talking to
Okay.
a fan or something.
Oh no! I had something directly into it. Okay. All right. Where's my pink? Let me see. Sorry about that, y'all. Let's see. Internet speed test.
That's worse.
Way worse.
Let me see. Is this better? Is this better?
That's a little better, but it's more like what you were before. What about Chipmunk?
Okay. Okay, then I would just go a bit slower than usual.
I know with mine
Okay.
sometimes it's just my headphone jack.
Why can't I not think of internet tests? Okay. But anyway, then in order to just create better content while I am basically getting this together. So up in at the spans of like D&D, like even though that that there is like an actual food at the table and stuff that have that your players ever like surprised you with just like your favorite DM snacks, player snacks, etc.
Hmm. I remember when I made that. I remember when I made that beef and vegetable soup when we were playing our Tuesday night game, and I forgot to put noodles in when I was cooking it, and I had to make them separate. And everyone looked at me crazy, but everybody seemed to like it when I made it though. I was worried that no one was.
That's interesting. What about you, Bosch?
The usually I like everybody's food, but I'm easy to please.
Yeah, I mean that I just basically know that like one of our players and also my DM Shadow Next said that she loves Smarties. Just bring her Smarties, and then you will get a point of inspiration, and just also
She
a
likes
piece
Smarties
that
and Topher likes cowtails.
what are cowtails?
Wait, you've never heard of cowtails?
You know what cowtails are?
Oh, this is the first time I've heard of cowtails.
Nasa brought them to him like the first time you guys played. Hang on, I'm gonna find some. We sell them at work.
I have never heard of this candy a day in my life.
I think it's kind of like a Tootsie Roll. I've never eaten them, but I've seen
Yeah.
them.
So think like a Tootsie Roll with cream filling. That's the best way to describe it.
I'm trying to find it. Hang on.
Yeah, that this is an interesting candy. I never wait. That they got an Oreo flavored cowtail. What is this?
They got all
That's
flavors.
interesting.
We've got original, and we've sold chocolate, cookies and cream.
Well, then that they kind of like stay on topic because I'm like, oh, cowtails. Never heard of this before. That I remember like one time that my players had basically surprised me, and then that they had basically like got me like little Debbie snacks, and then I was like, oh my god, because then that they know that I am a big fan of like your cakes, cookies, and stuff like that.
We one time we were playing around Halloween for again our home game that Bosk is in, and we were doing kind of a spoopy game around that time, but we had a whole crapload of Halloween candy because we never got trick or treaters, and for some reason we always bought it at the old house. Don't really get them here either. So we had all this and these little stupid, dollar store like glasses and whistles and stuff. So we all just dumped it all on one side of the game table, and everybody just ate candy all night. I'm pretty sure John ate way too many Kit Kats. I think he got kind of a stomach ache.
I mean, that can
Oh, yeah.
happen when you're just sitting there hanging out and then with a bunch of candy.
Yeah. I ate too many Skittles. I ate way too many Skittles. I cannot
Yeah, I
eat
mean,
Skittles like I used to.
then that I know that I am the snack fiend of the table. So it is just like each time that I basically bring, snacks and stuff in, everybody just like, where do you find these awesome snacks? And I'm like, I just go to Walmart.
I always tell
That's all
Hewitt
what
I always tell Hewitt or anybody, I don't need to get high to get the munchies. I just have to play D&D. Because playing at the table, especially playing at my computer, I just want to sit here and eat while I'm doing it. So I always have to have like popcorn or something. But it
Oh yeah.
I think the stuff that Topher's made has been some of my favorite like stuff connected to games. Because oh my god, those pierogies made me so happy.
Oh, those pierogies, and then that was my first time ever having beignets. Actually,
Really?
What?
yes, really,
How do you?
yes,
How do
really.
you live here in the States and not have had them before?
There is a lot of stuff that I have not been exposed to in this state. Like that, I have at least had gumbo and jambalaya. Okay,
Oh man, now I want Cafe Demon, Cafe Beignet. Why do they have to be all the way in New Orleans?
I mean that they do have that cake mix, but I know that it is not
No. I mean, it's not
it's
bad,
not
but
the same.
no.
But speaking on, but go on, Bosch. You were about to say something.
Yeah, I kind of agree with him that the down in New Orleans, Cafe do whatever is a bit overrated. But you go just for the experience to have coffee and beignets.
There's that one, and Cafe Beignet is also really, really good. I'll say the box mix was kind of eh.
No, the best beignets I ever had were from a grocery store bakery. Believe it or not.
Surprise me.
That does not surprise me at all because grocery store bakery be slapping. But speaking of which, that I have been up in games to where like DMs would use like chocolate pieces as like bad guys instead of minis. Minis, and basically, if you get to kill it, you basically get the food.
Yeah.
Food. So, what do you all think about that?
I think it's fun. I've seen a lot of people say that they do, especially with like gummy bears and stuff. I think it's a fun little thing to do, especially if you don't have money for minis or you don't want to buy a bunch of minis. We don't really do that with our games because Hewitt, spends all his money and time with minis, so that's become his thing. But I think it's a really cute idea, or even to make them like custom little enemies, like gelatinous gummy bears or something that you have to fight. I think it's fun.
Oh no. Now that you say that, he's going to buy a bag of gummy bears and just cut them apart and make this ungodly, terrible abomination for us to fight, right?
You realize what we sell at work, right?
Yes.
You
Yes, we
realize
do.
the massive abomination that is sitting on the shelf at Candy Craze right now, right?
I can't say the last time I've been in there, but I have
We
an
have
idea.
a 5-pound gummy bear.
Y'all have a what?
We sell a 5-pound gummy bear.
Oh God, no! That he is going to make that up into like a dragon. Him that him and Zeta are just going to just make this up into like a gelatinous cube dragon CR-15. Oh no!
Probably the only reason he has it is because this thing costs $34 friggin'.
So I'm sitting here thinking, it'd be really great if we kind of cored it out a little bit and then just dumped a bottle of vodka in there.
I
Drink
have had people
responsibly,
do that.
everybody. Drink responsibly.
Yeah.
I have had people come and buy it for that exact reason. And I have made vodka bears before with little ones. Haribo sucks at it real good. Which we
Yeah,
found out
I
Haribo
mean,
is not going to be making anything else for the rest of the year, so I don't know how that's going to go.
I
um,
how do you not? That seems like it might hurt business.
I mean,
I don't know about
it seems
what's
like
behind it. But
that they must be ahead or something. That they must have it pre-prepared, ready to go, and be like that. We are done for the rest of the year, boys. We can just sit back in there and relax and get
I don't
ready
know.
for next year.
I'm not sure what they source from certain other countries, so I don't know if that has something to do with it. But that's what
I
we
want
heard
to
from
say
the supplier.
Germany. I want to say Germany. Let's see real
Haribo is
quick.
made in Germany, but that's just what we've heard from the supplier is that Haribo will not be. I mean, I'm sure they've got a back stock, but they will not be creating anything like making anything else for the rest of the year. So what we got is what we got, or what we get is what we get. So I'm not really sure the whole background behind that. But if there happens to start being a Haribo shortage, that's why.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, then that
I don't really like
you
gummy
know that
bears,
base.
but
I am a gummy bear thing that that is just basically I just like just all of the gummy candy, even though that somehow that the dentist is always just like, you have no cavities. I'm like, okay, that's
when you brush
good.
teeth, you know. I like chocolate. There's certain gummies I like, but the texture of a lot of them, I'm just kind of like, bleh.
But yeah, I mean, then that
Gummies are hit and miss. You
okay,
can.
I
I mean,
I
you
am
can
hearing
have
myself.
weird flavors. It can be too stiff or too soft. Textures off, or
Yeah, that's my thing. But
Okay,
back to what we were talking about. I think that the idea of
right.
using food within the game is fun. I mean, we did we did the one that was funny but not quite so fun when we did Cups Night, right, Bosk?
Ugh.
Can you describe what in the world happened there?
We it was around,
Concoctions were made,
yeah.
and we randomly drew concoctions, and they provided permanent stat buffs to our characters. Now, when I say concoctions, I mean concoctions, and some of them were absolutely terrible.
I got the worst one.
I don't know. I think the ones I got were pretty bad.
You did too, didn't you?
Yeah, I had
I
two.
I still have the video. It's like 8 minutes long, but I have the video. It was everyone the premise was it was Cups Night. It's kind of like when did we play around
Hmm.
Christmas time? Or was it I'm trying to remember when we played it. But anyway, it was right before Steph and Josh left. But we it was an in-game thing where it was the celebration. Everyone had to bring a cup and uh we
Also,
all
and
exchanged
a
them.
drink.
Yeah, and something to share to drink. And everyone brought a cup. And like I bought one at Spencer's that said fancy as fuck, you know. And some what was it? Devin brought like a sippy cup, and Hewitt bought like a Moscow Mule cup. And you know, it was kind of like a white elephant kind of thing. You rolled and we went down the line. Everyone got to keep one. And someone was the king of cups, and they could call for a toast at any time. And we all shared drinks, and it was really fun. And then we had this game we played where Hewitt made all of these little concoctions in these little vials and cups and containers, and we all picked one and took turns drinking them. And some of them were not bad. I think Steph got like the green tea one, and somebody it was you or it was Topher that got Powerade. It was you. Uh, Devin got one that was spicy, and then I got the one that was what all was in it? It was garlic, soy sauce, Worcestershire, and Sprite. And I ended up spitting it over a good chunk of the table and myself. It was interesting. I don't even remember what that gave me. But Devin's character is immune to poison now. And everybody
Oh
got
God.
some kind of buff or stat or something funny, you know. And I have to post the video somewhere at some point because it was interesting. But it was fun. It was really fun. and it was
So
fun.
that sounds.
It was fun within and without of game. It was sort of a mixture of both. I don't. It was hard. It's hard to tell when everyone's in character after a while doing that kind of stuff.
I mean, that tends to happen sometimes. Then that I know. Then that whenever then that I usually used to drink and stuff, and then that that it would be like an RP server or something like that. For just like some odd reason, my tolerance back in the day, I would not drop character. I would just be drunk as that character. So it's just like so it is just like especially at the shop game. If that like Triss ever gets sloppy drunk because that she does not swear at all. I just think that she will be swearing as a sailor on that aspect. But I do now. I kind of do want to ask both of y'all this. That do you think that sometimes that a DM will try to give y'all the itis on purpose so that y'all don't pay attention as much?
I don't know about on purpose, but I'm sure it's happened, especially with some of the food that Dover's cooked.
Yeah.
I don't know. That'd be pretty sneaky, but I don't think a DM's ever done that. That is, as far as I know.
Well, unless
Right.
the DM's just not feeling like DMing for the day, so he gives everybody the itis. They fall asleep at the table, and he can just go off and watch TV or something.
I mean, but I think that that for some odd reason, it always seems like that the DM is always that the good cook. Well, it seems like the DM that is always hosting and stuff, and that they have to do all of that prep work with cooking and also run the game and stuff. That I do think that that is a good idea if that the players pitch in and stuff because it just builds uh, that camaraderie, and then it also helps us out with social getting to just know each other a little bit better. What do y'all think about that?
Oh yeah, I think so, especially with it being not always the DM's job to provide, that in that way it's takes the load off of the DM or the host and
Oh,
let someone else, contribute. And I think that is definitely something good to do every once in a while.
I mean, you don't always have to cook something big, huge, difficult.
Right.
Um, Shoot, I know we did open face sandwiches that one time.
Oh, those were
So
good.
literally, we made our own thing and threw it in the oven. That required almost nothing on Zeta's part.
Yeah, that those were so good.
Yeah,
And how
I
how
mean,
many times have you had pizza?
good. Just like Tears of Kairos, just it's just like that the de facto game is pizza, but since that it is going to be Cinco de Mayo that game, I had brought up the idea about we are making fajitas Thursday. Everybody pitches in. We are making fajitas.
Ooh, I love me some fajitas.
Yeah, but it is also just kind of just like whenever that I think that whenever that we are all cooking and stuff that you get to explore everyone just like else's like culture that the way that they may go about cooking something, and then that as just at this cooking show that I always watch on YouTube that he always just say now look that y'all just got to just trust the process. Y'all may be calling me crazy for just sticking at this chicken up in just at this pickle and then like a lime juice mixture, but you got to trust the process. It'll work. And then it works. It is just as well as just like trusting that your fellow players' characters' actions too. Most of the time.
Yeah, I don't know. I think food can be a really fun thing to explore with playing games.
Well, let me turn it a different direction.
Sure.
Besides using food as just something as a social event for players at your table, you can also use it to I can't think of a better way to phrase it, but lure players into your table. The first thought that comes to mind would be something like Adventure Zone. If you have some easy snacks like chips and whatnot, you might be able to get a few players to come and sit in your table if you're not having much luck.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but that's a good point and stuff because especially at any kind of hobby shop, card shop, nerds like free, that they just like free food. I mean that
People
That's
like free food, period.
yeah. I mean,
right.
food just it's such a cliche to say, but food brings people together. I
Yeah.
mean,
I
it's
mean,
like the quintessential, most simple thing you can share is food.
right, right. I mean, then it is just like that. I know for just like one of these games that I am gonna plan on just like making more cinnamon rolls. Yay, me. But then that's something that's gonna be like if then that that the table does not eat it all. I am pretty sure that the place that we are basically taking up space and stuff that they do not mind the free food at all, and then that just builds a certain camaraderie whenever that it comes to like that those events and stuff. And then it also kind of helps us to kind of like break out of our shells in a sense because that I have been told that you are the most extro e- e- extroverted introvert I have ever met. And then I'm like, really? I kind of see myself as more of a shut-in, but okay,
That's the DM taking over.
Hmm.
that's the DM taking over. Is that what it is?
The DM side taking over.
I mean that it's just like that. My thing is that if that I was to host games and stuff, that especially to come back around the horn, especially that if that we was doing like that that the Revenge of Stefan Carcass that where that y'all had left off at, it will probably be like some extravagant like meal based on like a casino with just with just like a little bit of soul food twist to it because that the town that y'all are at is basically like half like Las Vegas and the other half is the Bible Belt, like literally.
Oh boy.
But no, I'm sorry.
Sorry, the boys are talking to me. What?
And then
Well,
oh,
Sorry, back.
go on.
They were just bothering me.
Okay, go on.
well, I'll wait till we're kind of done with this segment.
Oh, okay then. Well, then that to me that I honestly do think that it also helps your DM also think about like expanding the culture of your world. Like that, I am just going to use Helion's Crook, for instance. That is my tiefling island of full of like feral tieflings and stuff. So what I am thinking about as like a chef, it'd be like a lot of like shish kebabs, charred stuff, open, like grill stuff, pretty much. Right, right. And then it is also very fresh, kind of like hunter and gathering mixed in with just that a little bit of seafood, and then that most of the tieflings in my world are usually coded as like ethnic groups like African American, Haitian, Dominican Republican, stuff like that. Yeah, I guess I can't speak right now.
No, you're good.
I mean, that do y'all do stuff like that whenever that y'all are thinking about your homebrew worlds and be like, what kind of food would that they eat here?
We've done it in Lost Seas a little bit. Um, which is all seafaring based. I know that part of when I created my character Alana, part of one of her background things is her favorite food is fish stew, but her mom's fish stew is the best. We've come across it several times across the game in different places, and that's what she always eats. And she's like, "Yeah, it's all right. My mom's is better." But done food a little bit there, just which is funny because he would hate seafood, and that's pretty much what it's all based around being on the high seas.
Interesting. Bosch, you got anything else to add before you want to present another topic?
I don't usually think in terms of like ethnic groups or anything like that, but more akin to uh, more historical references. What was the common food that was in certain areas and based on the climate. So, um, if we're looking at a more European style area, what was commonly eaten there? Or areas that had high humidity or something like more desert climates, you might see more dates and less cheese because cheese is not going to survive well in hot zones. Or you're not going to get like cows because there's nowhere to graze, so you might get camel meat instead. Or if you're in the far northern European style areas, you might get horse. Um, so that's kind of what I bring in when food comes up, and I also try to like tame it to maybe 3 or 4 different types of food, because the ideas that we've got for like these great feasts with all these different foods are an extreme rarity for only the richest nobles. So if your party walks into a bar and then there's this huge menu of stuff, it seems a little weird unless you're in a major trade city. But even then, and then I also like think on, okay, what would rations be, or what would there be anything special to? Usually, historically speaking, you carried like crackers, and you had a cooking pot. So you'd stop at a stream, and as you were traveling throughout the day, you'd probably pick up berries or whatever you happen to find, and you mix it all together in a pot of water over fire, and that's your meal for the day, because crackers are hard and chewy and not very flavorful.
I always imagine it being just like jerky and nuts.
Yeah, then I know that the Heroes Feast cookbook brought by Dungeons and Dragons, not sponsored by the way, it basically has this recipe called like iron rations, and then that just like to Bosch's point, it has like that the slices of like your Gouda, Havarti, cheddar cheese with just some dried dates, grapes, berries, and then that you have the choice to put some dried meat in it and stuff, or else just beef, or else just like your beef jerky, or else that bacon substitutes or anything like that. But yeah, I mean that absolutely. I mean that that the party goes up into like beginner town, that they are going to get just like your stews and just like that your run of the mill stuff, that you're not going to get your exotic like lobster and all, and other just expensive noble food
Oh yeah.
and
I
stuff.
always imagine in general the food within a D&D game is generally simple, which is sometimes the best, sometimes it's bland, but sometimes simple is the best thing. And anything else is, special. But there's always bacon. No matter what inn we go to, there was always bacon.
Yeah, pigs are very common.
Yeah.
Uh, but no, you have a really good point there with simple food. So when your players do encounter a situation where they're not getting simple food, it kind of throws up that flag saying, hey, this is something you should pay attention to. Instead of just, oh, he brings you a plate of dates and cheese. Instead,
Right.
you have a plate of dried meats with a half a wheel of cheddar cheese, and the other side has a different cheese you've not seen before, covered in herbs and spices, and all this, that, and the other.
And
Because
there's some characters that probably wouldn't raise a red flag, because if it were Nazareth, she'd just be like, "Hey, this is supposed to be eat at home."
Right. I mean that I know for a fact that whenever that I am the party chef, in a sense that even though then that this is not an official background, wizards make it, please, then that that I always that I have created a roll chart table for myself up in my up in Tristana's journal, to basically whenever we are at a rest or something, I would just basically roll on that, and I would be like, oh, that we are having chicken and dumplings tonight or something like that. Just good, role play opportunity there, because I think that every good party needs a good chef or
Well,
two.
in our Monday night game, he's not currently been playing with us for a while due to other obligations, but we've had a halfling. He was Bard who was with us. His name was Dude. I can't. It was a play on Guy Fieri, but I can't remember what his last name was. And he anytime he would make us food, it would give us some kind of bonus to something. But he always took so much care to describe what he was making. And every time I'd be like, "Man, quit! I just ate dinner, and you're making me hungry." But my character Arvax is, she comes from out in the woods, so she's like, "The hell is this fancy shit? Where's my bread?" But it was fun to hear what he would come up with, give us to eat, though.
Right, right. Anything else you would like to add, Bosch?
No, but you mentioned the Heroes Feast book, and
Yes.
kind of wanted to go back to the first thing we talked on, which would be themes.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are your thoughts on alcoholic beverages at the table? And going further into that, what about themed beverages?
Oh, I mean that for me personally, that since then that I don't really drink until like every 3 blue moons, but during just that one monster of that the week game that we had played to where that we had to deal with the leprechaun situation, and then that y'all had first met like Rose, not Desiree or whatever, it was just like that this is a very good thing. I don't mind it, but just as long as a player is first of all is of the legal age to consume alcohol first and foremost. Secondly, don't get too rowdy with it because that can tend to make them be belligerent, and then that they may say some things that that they didn't want to come out that way. But you have to remember that you are dealing with like 4 to 5 other people at the table, and then that not everybody share some of those in that some of those inner thoughts as you do.
I mean, I think it can be fun. It can be interesting. Um, wait one sec. I need to let the dog in. Give me like 10 seconds.
Well, definitely reasonable and drink responsibly, and a lot of things are actually assumed, like being of age to consume.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I do think it
I'm
can
back.
add a bit to the atmosphere. If you're spending a session doing RP and you're at a bar drinking mead or beer or whatever it may be, having that at the table. And then there's things you can do for your non-drinking players. So if you can find plenty of drinks that will match the coloration of an alcoholic
Mm-hmm.
beverage. I know I have a few friends that don't consume alcohol, so if there's something going on where, like, for instance, whiskey's being consumed, I'll have them have a whiskey tumbler, and I'll just give them apple juice with ice.
Right,
Grenadine does
right,
work for a lot of things.
right. And then you was about to say something, Frey, and then that
Oh,
Dewey needed to be let in.
we actually used to play with this idea more back before we did, team bonus action D&D stuff. Back when we were in the steampunk scene a lot more. Our steampunk Louisiana group, we would there were several drinks we made up, and some of them were terrible, and some of them were not so bad, but it was something fun, and we've kind of brought in drinks before, other than the terrible cups night drinks, to some games, and I think it can be fun. I think it can if it's brought in game, it can almost bring a sort of mystery to it because you have this mysterious drink you need to drink and you don't know what it's going to do. You actually have it in
Oh,
your hand, which kind of adds to that atmosphere of what the hell is this?
oh, I love that idea so much. It just that you just basically it's kind of like akin to like the mystery Kool-Aid packs that they used to have
Yeah,
up in like that the late 90s, early 2000s. And then it was just basically that you just put in just that these bunch of flavors, and then you just be like that. Well, players, you just find this mysterious drink in front of this altar with just a sealed door. Somebody has to drink it, and then I
Right,
think
and
then that that'd be very good.
that's kind of what we did at Cups Night, but just it's that extra bit of physical connection to what's happening in the game. I think can be fun. It doesn't have to be alcohol. I barely drink anymore. It just I just don't. I have no desire to, and I don't dislike it. I don't avoid it. I just
Right.
don't feel like it.
Same.
But
Same.
it I think it'd be fun, and I think it can increase the fun sometimes, just as long as it's in moderation. As long as everyone doesn't get completely sloshed.
Right.
I think
Exactly.
I role play being drunk far better than I play when I'm drunk.
I mean that just as long as that we don't have a DM Zeta, I know that you are listening. That's going to be like, oh, here's a puzzle, and then it's just like that this big tall smoothie like thing of like that this black ichor, and then it's just like a fruit smoothie, and then it is just a fruit smoothie. But just seeing that, it'd be like, what is
I'll
that?
I'll 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 drink the devil's smoothie. No, I think it can be used like the same way anything can. I think it can be used, to enhance the actual experience of playing the game. As
So
long as
food as a puzzle, that is an interesting concept. I mean, I think that that you would have to be
Alice in
aware of
Wonderland
people's.
scenario. Like
Um,
with the cookies, like she finds the eat me cookies, and one will make her smaller, one will make her bigger. Stuff
Go
like
on,
that.
Bosch.
Ooh.
yeah, there's a module I plan on running soon, TM, called Castle Amber, and it has its moments where it's rather mean. But it does have a section like that in there that deals with food. It's like, oh, if your players eat this, like here's everything that's on the table. If your players eat this, this happens. If they drink this, this happens. If they drink this beverage, they die, period.
Damn.
Yeah.
Whoa.
If I play
Castle
that
Amber
game with
is,
you, I'll make sure not to drink any beverages.
yeah, well, Castle Amber is a, what, I want to say second edition D&D module. So,
Ooh, so it's mean.
yeah, it is mean. But
That's,
I describe it as a fun house, and it is fantastically fun.
that does sound interesting, but
Ooh, that sounds nerve-wracking and fun.
I mean that I would say that like that another food idea for puzzles you can do is just get some of those Bean Boozled jelly beans,
I can
and
provide
then
that shit.
and then that, and then
I don't let people open that shit in the store. Do you know how bad those boxes smell when you open them?
Ooh,
oh
that sounds
Because
terrible.
it's got the good one. Well, at least when they had the skunk spray in there, because no matter how many were or weren't in there, it smelled like it.
oh God, dang it, why? But anyway,
You brought it
any
up.
anyway that no one had like asked for that, for that to being bamboozle. But I was just thinking to myself, like maybe that they are like dealing with just like a hag or else like a witch's coven in a sense, and then that that they just come across just basically that these different types of gems that do
Oh no, here's
different
gonna get ideas
effects.
for our Tuesday night game. We're dealing with Mad Maggie and Avernus right now. Oh no.
I am sorry.
He's listening. I heard him breathe.
But it's just not like that. Say for instance that that somebody is a monk, a high level monk or paladin. Well, that then that they are not affected by diseases and things like that. And then let's just say that that the monk or paladin player that they had the tire rubber or else that the skunk butt flavor
Dead
jelly
fish.
bean.
There's dead fish. Dirty
Oh,
dish.
dead fish.
Booger.
But yeah, then any
Vomit.
of those flavors do like a weird like effect or something. Like let's just say like dead fish, for example. It basically works the opposite of breathe underwater.
Oh.
You cannot breathe air. You cannot breathe air.
In the bucket.
Actually,
Exactly.
This reminds me of the third thing that I had in mind that I wanted to talk about.
Sure.
And it's going back to food in game, and I think it's something that's not often explored or even thought about, because usually players show up at a bar and it's like, oh, here's all the food we want, or they'll have like rations that they can eat on. But what do you guys think about eating the monsters you kill? Or even if you want to go that far, eat other races.
Oh,
This is
that's
sketchy for sure.
yeah. Then that only that if that my character is like super outlander. Well, Joline, for example, that he'll just eat anything. But I
Oh no,
try
gelatinous cube jelly.
a gelatinous cube and peanut butter sandwich, my
Oh,
favorite.
yuck! No, that
But
would give me
anyway,
acid burns.
that would just be stuck to your esophagus and kill you.
I'm trying to find it. I had a
Oh no, that's the worst hybrid mimic ever.
I had a
That is mean.
PDF book of like
Mhm.
a bunch of just different monsters from D&D, and it had like flavor. It broke down like flavors and textures. It included like all the base races and all this, that, and the other. And then it had like a subcategory of like magical and non-magical. So, for example, what happens if you kill and then decide to eat the a black dragon?
Wow.
Interesting.
Honestly, it would depend on the character I'm playing. A lot of them I don't think would be cool with doing that. They'd be like either weirded out or be like, "No, it's sentient."
Yeah, I mean that it definitely has to depend on that the PC that the player is playing. But going back to like basically, I always imagine like if you kill, let's just go with this black dragon, that that you will have heartburn and acid reflux, no pun intended, out the ass after eating that. And then that might just end up like eating out your insides and stuff. So that'd be very good.
That's an interesting question. I don't know. Like
So-
the other races, I'm like, no. The monsters, though, that is definitely that is an interesting question. 'Cause, hell, the same question's been raised in Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do they eat in Pokemon?
Well, they do eat Slowpoke tail because that was a whole mission in Pokemon was to figure out who was killing Slowpokes for their tails.
Mhm.
And at the Toros
Oh,
burgers and Toros burgers. I mean,
yeah, no, that's a really interesting question, and I don't really know the answer. I think it would depend on the character you're playing in the
and
end.
how far
Well,
would you go with it too?
I do like the idea of risk reward, and I bring up the black dragon specifically because y'all both kind of picked up where my brain was kind of going with black dragons being very acidic. So you have a lot of room to play around with say just do a con save or a con roll, and if you roll like either high or low enough, you can impose like penalties or buff. Like if you roll a middling con roll, then you could be immune to poison for 24 hours. If you roll like a nat 20, you're now immune to poison permanently. However,
Or you get a breath weapon.
yeah. However, if you like roll a 5, you take like X amount of poison damage. Or if you roll a 1, it just kills you because the acid eats your insides. And you can like play around with these effects for magical creatures, and it kind of puts that idea in like the back of your player's head. It's like, hey, what if we eat this?
That's an interesting idea. It's something I might explore in that monster hunting game I'm looking into doing. That's interesting. I never
Ooh.
really thought about it.
I mean that I have like thought about that because that at the shop up in like one of the games that is about to end, I have this player that he is a Duergar Forge cleric, and in that I have gave the players a bag of coding up in my world. A bag of coding is just like the bag of holding, but it is a portable refrigerator, pretty much.
We utilized one a lot in one of our other games, in like the long running game, the game that Claren started playing in.
Oh, okay.
Playing
Well,
it was a home game, but we've definitely utilized that a lot. You can ask Cannon.
yeah, that he basically has this running joke about each time that he kills something or else that he just comes across something weird, he has basically turned his bag of coding into basically a food processor that makes nothing but stew. And then it's like, it has like lizard folk tail in it, a piece of like poisonous mushrooms, drider. It has like drider legs.
No, badgers.
It just has
Ours
a
was full of
bunch.
badgers.
Oh God.
Because
So
I
it's
think I think I think that Claire's character put a badger in there and another badger, and they reproduced like rabbits. And anytime we opened the bag, they had to roll to see if you got what you wanted or if a badger came out and bit you.
wow. That's strange, but okay.
She had a thing with badgers.
Huh. But yeah, that that I always just like make him have to make a con save each time that somebody wants to drink out of this repugnant stew. But that does bring up a good point. Like, what does a burletta taste like? Anybody have had like mind flayer sushi? You know, stuff like that.
I don't know if I can't think of it. No, Mal would do it. My character, my bugbear rogue Mal would do
Very,
it.
very strange ways. Like if you roll well, like maybe that could be like a wisdom roll, and if you roll super high, you get telekinetic powers for X amount of time. Whereas if you roll like really low, you now have a mind flayer tadpole in your head.
Oh no, that would be what happened to Mal anyway.
Oh, that is such a good idea that you just basically visit this drow tavern at the Underdark, and then that they are just like that they have this specialty of just sushi.
Ooh,
We
that's mean.
that you know that we all know damn well that unless of course that if it is like that a underground lake or something, that there is no damn fish in the Underdark, and then that you're just like, ooh, sushi. You keep on failing that those wisdom saves. Eventually, that PC becomes part of the hive mind of the mind flayer stuff, and then that it just turns out,
Mal would be first roll.
and then it just basically just turns out that those drow were actually had made out a deal with just that the mother brain of the mind flayers to basically keep on bringing them servants so then that they can basically survive in their village without them being attacked. That is actually a good one shot.
That's a good
I know you're listening. I know you're listening, Hewitt.
I don't know. I still like my gelatinous cube peanut butter mimic.
That's terrible. That's awesome.
That's hilarious. God, the hybrids you could come up with.
I mean but like a food mimic is the worst way. What do y'all think about
my
that?
bathroom mimic's pretty bad. That bathroom mimic is pretty bad.
It is something that your player is consuming, and then it's just like that is bad news all around.
One of my favorite videos I've ever seen on TikTok is a mimic disguised as a tankard being drunk out of from the barbarian. The barbarian rolling a 20 on intimidation, so the mimic won't change back until he finishes his damn drink.
But yeah, I mean, then there are like loads of ways to basically, like use food in game and also out of game to basically, like entice your players more, excite them. And then that also and then plus in that it also helps the players know their DM to see like what ways to bribe them possibly. I mean, but hey, that we don't bribe DMs up in this house, or do we? I don't know.
I mean, bribes don't work on Hewitt. Hewitt does not appreciate bribes.
Right. I mean, then I don't bribe. I don't bribe my DM at all because
I bribe is a joke. I don't actually expect to get any special treatment from Hewitt or any DM.
Right.
Bribe. It's just usually it's like, hey, I got you something. Hey, don't let me die. Joking.
I mean, jokingly, yeah. I mean, then any just last thoughts about this topic before we just wrap up things?
No, I think that's everything I had in mind.
What about you, Fre?
No, I think my thoughts on it are pretty exhausted now.
Well, then that I do want to thank everybody for like listening in, because I think that we are all full after just like listening, just listening to just these amazing ideas, and then it is always fun for y'all to try some of these ideas and stuff up at your personal games, your home games, shop games, etc. Because everybody loves food. But as far as announcements go, that I do want to basically remind everyone about our charity game between May 5th. The May 13th and May 15th. That that this will be the retribution of the fallen. That this will be our D&D Warlock fast food game where that we are basically all playing warlocks based on like fast food things. So then that's going to be exciting. And then that we are basically donating money to support the kids cancer foundation for those children up in the Ukraine, because the things are tough right now. And then that that as Sunday is going to be a double feature, because that we also have basically.
Spence, you weren't supposed to talk about what the game is about.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Well, then we can just edit that out up in post. But then that we were just basically that we are basically having just into the woods tonight. Me and Bosch. We will be in that. So then that will be around like 5 o'clock, 5:15, 5:30 ish, whenever we will get started. And then is it going to be Holy Winds or else Lost Seas this Monday?
We will be having, if we play, we will be doing Holy Winds. There's been a lot of busy stuff going on for them in Lafayette.
Okay.
So there's possibility of not playing, I think. But if we do play, it will be Holy Winds, and I'm trying to think, what else was there?
And then there is also Tears of Kairos on Thursday.
Tears of Kairos Thursday, and a week from today will be another Into the Woods.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then that that do keep in mind then that would also be that the 100 follower giveaway too as well. Then that you are going to get a TBA mouse pad, some mugs, that there is then that that there is some more surprises coming into just that package. It's just all made up in-house. So that I do want to just say thank you to all of our followers who have supported us over the things. And then that I will let Fre do our socials, and also Bosch.
All right. I hope we're glad anyone joined us, and you can watch this in all of our previous broadcasts over on our YouTube channel, where we are there as Team Bonus Action as well, and on Facebook, and we are at bonus_team on Twitter.
All right. And well, Bosch, you got any? Oh, sorry.
No, I don't have any other closing thoughts.
Okay, then no socials or anything?
Nope. Social media is the devil.
That's how we get people to watch us.
Right. Well, then go on, Fre.
No, I was gonna close this out, but
go ahead, because I was about to do it.
well, since Knox isn't here, we'll just let y'all know. Don't let your meatloaf.
Good night, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
Comment, like, subscribe. Thank you for watching.